Hi, I am Lucas, a PhD candidate at UCI, and I'm glad to present our work entitled Exploring Opportunities for Multimodality in Multiple Devices in Food Journaling. Digital food journaling has been used in support for several goals. Some are more quantitative and focus on counting calories or nutrients towards a daily limit. For example, for weight management, one might track calories and carbs. Others might monitor specific nutrients to manage diseases affected by foods eaten, such as sugar for diabetes management. There are also less quantitative goals that might focus more on eating behavior awareness and mindfulness for better food choices, or to support self-discovery of allergies, intolerances, and foods that lead to discomforts. Digital food journaling has typically been supported by technology through lookups to food databases and barcode scanning of food packages, with a focus on the nutritional information feedback. However, this can incentivize eating more packaged foods, and searches can be cumbersome, inaccurate, or even unsuccessful. Various efforts have then sought to support more open modalities in order to make journaling less burdensome and more descriptive, such as taking a picture, recording a voice memo, or saving open text descriptions. However, most food journaling systems have been for mobile devices and with a few modalities, such as the popular commercial apps MyFitnessPal that has a nutrition focused approach, or U8 that has a more mindfulness journaling approach, such as taking pictures. So given the diversity of technologies people now have access throughout their day, we sought to explore whether and how the ubiquity of multiple devices and their modality affordances might better support people's food journaling than a solely mobile experience. To achieve our research goal, we built on the deployment of the ModEat prototype. ModEat supported several devices with different input modalities, such as on the phone or computer, with scanning of barcodes, photo taking, open text input, simulated database searches, saving website URLs, such as for a recipe, and voice memos, as well as Alexa and Google Assistant by supporting simple conversations, such as asking to record a food description or to read the previous entry. ModEat was deployed with 15 participants that had a mix of quantitative and awareness food-related goals. Participants used ModEat for 2 weeks and completed daily surveys for their entries, and finally were interviewed. Through our analysis, we found that participants had motivational factors that guided their default modality and device choices. Participants with quantitative goals had a preference for modalities which would provide the nutrition information, whereas those with awareness goals were more open to use any and had a slight preference for descriptive modalities such as taking the picture or describing foods in text and voice. Participants also reported how their goals had changed over time and could change again in the future, so having more options could support such transitions. Also, prior familiarity with or aversions to platforms guided modality and device preferences. For example, P8 had a default preference for phones because of her familiarity with using apps on the phone to journal previously. Conversely, others did not wish to talk with a voice assistant ever, such as P12 that considered it jarring to speak with a robot about his eating behaviors. Despite default preferences for how and with what device to journal, situations and contexts influence deviations from those defaults. Participants' choices vary depending on what device were more available, such as in a specific location, or which device was more easily accessible, such as if they were already working on or studying on the computer. It also depended whether efficiency and speed needed to be a priority, and thus picking the quickest journaling method possible. People also consider what the device was capable of doing in a given moment. For example, P1 mentioned that she would pick Alexa when desiring to multitask while journaling. Emotions and cognition were also influential, and people considered their mood and willingness to make more or less effort when journaling. Overall, having multiple options was often useful to circumvent situational constraints and journal in the moment. In addition to these factors, being around other people had different impacts on participants' journaling preferences and practices. For some, it implied not journaling at all because of worries with privacy, such as P6 that mentioned she didn't want her family members to hear or know what and how she was journaling. Also, for others, it could feel awkward or perhaps even embarrassing to journal in front of others, including family members. Yet for others, it would be a supportive opportunity. For example, it could be mutually motivational, as well as family members could help make a journal entry, such as with P11 that mentioned her difficulty being understood by the voice assistant due to her accent. And sometimes her kids or husband would step in and help by describing the food out loud. Although not frequent, participants consider that combining multiple modalities in a single entry could be beneficial. Participants with both awareness and quantitative goals occasionally use pictures for in-the-moment journaling as a placeholder and later coming back to the system to add more details when they had more time. Also, some reserved database search for food items that would impact their calorie limit, while combining descriptive modalities for food items that didn't have any calories, such as the greens in the second image here. Lastly, combining modalities could also be a means of capturing more food details, and as P10 put it, when one modality was insufficient. Moving on to the discussion, I want to briefly mention 3 points we bring up in our paper. One is the use of multimodality and multi-device as a flexible fallback, the opportunity for supporting multiple and shifting goals, and finally, the potential for parallel and collaborative journaling. So we observed that particular contexts could be constraining on participants' preferred way of journaling, and we envisioned that multimodal systems could thus be used as a fallback for later adding details or providing a less demanding input in that moment. Ultimately, supporting multiple modalities might enable people to select among other available options as an alternative to skipping journaling altogether. Also, participants' reports and choices when using ModEat indicate that their goals might change or preferences might also be circumstantially influenced. Modality and device choices also varied even among participants with similar goals. Therefore, we envision that journals which support multiple modalities and devices have the potential to simultaneously support different kinds of goals and might help people with transitioning between goals. However, many options can become overwhelming, require maintenance, and maybe add more mental effort to the journaling process. So perhaps systems could allow users to opt in or out or prioritize some modalities according to personal preferences. Finally, our study explored the use of sequential journaling, but we can see how different modalities of interaction could be used simultaneously to complement details and lower burden, such as describing a food via voice while taking a picture, for example. Also, often meals are in the home and with family members, and we see the potential of several people using personal and shared devices together to co-construct entries of shared meals, perhaps using different modalities. For more details on these discussion points, please refer to our full paper. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and feel free to contact me.